Thank you for being with us in the 24/7 grind on another dope segment, Hours with the Elders, where we bridge the gap of information, experience, and wisdom, dropping gems and jewels for those who are committed to making a difference in their communities. Greetings, good evening, good
Good
evening,
evening.
good
Good
evening.
evening.
Yeah.
How everybody doing today?
Everybody is wonderful on this Monday, July 15th, 2024, where we have a special guest. I'm excited about this topic. I'm excited because we have Shantae. Is it? Hold on
Refuge.
a second. Yep,
SHAWNTI.
Refuge
SHAWNTI.
Journals.
It's
Shantae.
SHAWNTI.
Shantae
Shanti. Okay.
Refuge Journals speaks volumes. Shantae Refuge Journals.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
It speaks
Hello, how you
volumes.
doing?
I am well. How are y'all?
We well. We're blessed.
Thank you so
Blessed
much for hanging
as
out
soon
with
as
the
possible.
elders on today.
Not
Amen.
a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
OG Los,
Hey, OG.
what's up?
Good evening.
Hey, my brother.
How y'all doing?
All right, bro.
We have
What's
How
up,
y'all doing?
OG?
How you
All right, how
doing?
you doing today?
anyway. You see, you hear that laugh? That's the laugh.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I hear that mess. He trying to be messy right now, so I'm tuning him out.
Tune him out, OG.
and no, and number love, OG. You already know what
Uh-huh.
it do.
Yeah, it's love, but my name ain't Milton Bradley nor Parker Brothers. Stop playing with me.
I
All
love
right, y'all.
it.
Straight to the business. To the business. We
All
don't act
right.
like that.
Yes, y'all do.
He's so good, bro.
OG,
He's so
open up
good.
and
Yes, we
cry.
I
do.
tell you, he's so good.
Yes, y'all do.
Uh-huh.
Shantae, good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Shantae, good evening. And thank you
Thank
so much for
you.
being on the hour with the elders. But I'm telling you, as I mentioned before, I've listened to some of your video vignettes. I love the title of your book, and we'll get there. Quiet as kept.
Hmm.
It speaks volumes. But
Thank
before we get there, I'm excited, and then I think I'm gonna have PTSD before it's all said and done.
you. No, you will not.
I said in the group, I said some bones finna start rattling this evening. You understand? But Shanti, it is your hour. Please tell us who Shanti is, and ask. I guess my question would be, why journaling after all of that? After your upbringing and everything, why journaling?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, well, my name is Shanti Refuge. I'm a certified mental health coach, mental health advocate, keynote speaker, and author. And I help women to release, heal, and live their best lives through guided journaling. How did I get into guided journaling? It was not on purpose. I had no intentions, but my situation caused me to have to look at alternatives. So, what happened was back in 2018, I had a nervous breakdown. And I didn't know I was having a nervous breakdown at the time. I just knew something wasn't right and I couldn't control my emotions. So whatever emotion that I spit out, that's what you got, no matter who you were. And I could not stop it. I couldn't change it. I couldn't do nothing but let it happen. And after about a month of that, I said, okay, something's wrong, something not right. Let me go to the doctor. And I went to my primary care doctor and told her, hey, I'm crying, I'm cussing people out, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm withdrawn. And she said, oh, let me give you some antidepressants. And I took them and they did not work. So I went back to her 6 weeks later and told her, hey, this is not working. So, and I'm still acting the way I was acting, but it was getting worse. It was getting to the point where I was being verbally aggressive, but I could sense that I was about to be physically aggressive. So I
But,
told her,
but,
hey, this ain't working.
before we go any further
Yes,
with
ma'am.
that, I want you to I want you to go back to the little girl Shanti and where she started her journey. I want us to connect the dots till now, which you just expressed. So tell us
Okay.
about the little girl Shanti.
So in order for me to understand why I was acting the way I was acting, I did have to go back into my childhood to see what was wrong. And through that, through me going backward to my earliest remembrance of childhood, I learned that I was a victim of child abuse. I grew up in a dysfunctional family, dysfunctional household. I grew up in a time where, what goes on in the house stays in the house. You don't tell people what's going on. My mom was a victim of domestic violence. I was a teen mom. I had my first baby when I was 14. I got arrested when I was 16. I did graduate high school though. I graduated on time with a 3-year-old. And so after that, it was just a life of bad decisions.
Well,
Bad
let me
decisions.
just ask you this. Where do you think the bad decisions, now that you have, I think I hear a lot of feedback, but
Hmm.
now that you have retraced your tracks journaling, where do you contribute the bad decisions at about what age?
I want to say I started with my bad decisions at probably 11 or 12 years old because it was 12 years old when I started having sex. So then, bad decisions, not knowing what I was doing because I did not know what I was doing. It was more of, oh, they doing this, so I want to do it too. I wasn't raised with, self-worth, self-love, things like that. So I can know better than not to do what everybody else doing.
So let me ask you this, what in front of the audience before OG and Miss Dorothy have their questions.
Hmm.
Would you saying that for the audience of young people, would you have waited and why to have sex?
Yes, most definitely wait. Nobody wants to be in the 8th grade and pregnant, and you need to be educated on what goes along with that. Having sex and being reckless with it, it can not only get you pregnant, but you can get diseases. Some you probably can't even give back. So
What
definitely
do
wait.
what triggered that in you at such a young age?
Wanting to be accepted, wanting to fit in, because I never was one that fit in.
And my other question is, why do you what is your how can I put it? What is your differentiation between guided journaling and regular journaling? Why do you differentiate the two?
Because there's a difference. When you are journaling, regular journaling is you opening a notebook and writing. And that's what a lot of us do. And for me, when I started my healing journey, I started with regular journaling and I found that it was not helping me. It was making me mad. And I didn't understand why it was making me, well, I did understand. I'm like, okay, why am I writing this down? I already know what happened. I don't need to keep repeating my story over and over again. But I was doing it the wrong way. So guided journaling, when I finally went to a therapist, she taught me about guided journaling. Guided journaling is you answering specific prompts pertaining to
Oh,
whatever
yeah, I know what
subject.
it is. You're journaling to get to the root of your issue.
Exactly. But I
I
wasn't
know
able
what
to
it
do it
is.
right.
Oh, well, the audience, because I did
Yeah,
not.
I was asking for audience clarity. I know what it is.
Oh, I didn't know what it is. So say it again, Shanti.
So for guided journaling, you are answering specific prompts pertaining to whatever topic you want to talk about. And that helped me. And I was like, okay, now I can get into the journaling. And now I can get into going to the root of what made me act like I was acting back then up until now. So that's why I created guided journals under my name to help others who didn't know the difference and who can, once they start using the guided journals, can tell, oh yeah, okay, now I get it. Now I know why I'm
That's
having
only
the right.
because I've been through it a little bit myself.
Come on.
That's the only reason I know.
So allow me to ask you,
Mhm.
if there is a mom, when there's a mom watching right now who has maybe a daughter who's promiscuous or maybe a teen pregnancy in her household, whether it's a young man or a young woman,
Mm.
what's the best, what can you share with them right now as the parent?
Pay attention to your child. Pay attention. Go through everything. Everything. You know, I didn't have supervision. Not my mom was a great mom. In the aspect, she took care of us. We never went without. We was always fly. You know, she was always at work and that never got cut off. Wouldn't miss no meals. However, I didn't have that the parental aspect of you got homework, let me check it. Let me go through this bag. Let me go through these closet. Let me, that I didn't have. And so with that, I was able to do a whole bunch of stuff that my mama didn't know I was doing. Like she didn't even know I was having sex until I got pregnant. And I had her thinking that was my first time having it, and it wasn't. So pay
So
attention.
what specifically, when you say pay attention, for some people that are just, what are the specifics a parent needs to pay attention for?
Behavioral changes. Go through, like in this day and age, everything is technology. Go through them phones. I don't care what your child or what you think they're doing. Go through the phone to tell on them. Go through that search history. Go through those text messages. Go through those apps and see who they talking to and what they talking about. And that's what I learned, because when I had mine and we got into that age of, I could tell.
Exploration, if you will.
I could tell. So, and
Yeah, that age of exploration is something serious.
if my mama would have did that with me, then I would not got pregnant at 14.
So do you find yourself being more stricter on your kids?
Hell yeah. Yes. Yes.
You be on their neck, huh?
When I tell you, I used to go, they grown now, but when they were in school, especially my youngest one, because I could see myself in her so much, I used to go up to the schoolhouse and do pop-ups. I used to go search the locker. I found outfits in there that didn't belong to her. I took them and threw them in the trash, because what I found out she was doing was going to school in the clothes I bought her. But when she got to school, she was changing clothes. Cut that out real quick.
That sounds familiar.
I used to
How did
strip
that
her.
affect you all's relationship? Because oftentimes, I don't have kids, but I've heard that your offspring be a whole lot worse than you. So how did that affect you all's relationship personally? Did you all bump heads a lot?
I fought her like she was a woman in the street, because and I did, because I said, your stuff ain't bigger than mine. Mine is the only one in this house, and if you think yours is bigger than mine, then and we went at it, and it got so bad that I ended up, when she was 15, I ended up sending her to live with her dad. That's how bad it got, because I figured, okay, maybe she need her daddy in her life. There's something missing, because she ain't getting what I'm saying. Because when you have a kid, they think you old, but you just not understanding. I'm younger than your friend's mama, but she thinking I'm old and don't know nothing. Okay, well, go do it at your dad's house. So I
Did
sent her.
Did that change anything for her?
No. She was doing the same thing over there.
And so what does she do today?
She is, well, right now she is 23 and she's married and she's about to have her first baby.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So don't say it. Don't say it.
You
Don't.
already know it's coming. You already know. She about to get it. And the difference
Shanti,
is, yes, ma'am.
no, go ahead and finish what you're saying first.
The difference is, I know she's gonna get it back what she did to me, but I'm gonna be there to help her through that. I didn't have help when I was going through it with her. I would reach out to my mom, to everybody who I could think of, and their answer would always be, "Oh, she don't act like that with me." Nobody believed me
Okay.
when I was telling them, "Hey, I'm having these problems. She doing this, she doing this." I'm like, and they thought I was lying because she was so convincing. But she about to get it back, and I'm here for it.
Shanti, you spoke on coming from a dysfunctional family and domestic violence. Did
Yes,
that
ma'am.
make you grow up being in a domestic violence relationship or anything of that matter?
Absolutely not. I wish somebody would put their hands on me.
All right, girl. All right, sister.
No. And I know that has a propensity to happen, when you grow up in an environment
Right.
like that. But my mindset was, why are you sitting up and letting them mama hit on you? You know? And no, that has never happened. Ever. I
That's
wish
great.
somebody
That's great. That's great. So your girls will know no man's not supposed to put their hands on them.
exactly.
If it's, so if it's not too personal, where did the family dysfunction come from? What is the root of that caused you to lash out in the way you did growing up?
I was not being paid attention to. So looking back, I want to say that I was looking for love that I wasn't getting at home. Even though I know my mama loved me and I know it because, again, we wasn't missing nothing. We were in a stable home, but we didn't have that affection and that love and stuff like that. And back then, I didn't know that's what I was looking for. I just knew I was missing something. So I was trying to find it everywhere I could and try to fit in. Nobody liked me in school. Like maybe one or two
Single
people.
parent home? You come from a single parent home, just you and your
Yeah.
mom?
Well, uh, it was me and my mom married my dad and divorced him when I was 2. And then when I was 6, when I was 4, she remarried but never had any children with him. That's the second marriage was the one that was the domestic violence happened. And then when I was 6, I had my little sister, well, my middle sister now. Um, and that was with someone else. And then she ended up going back to the person who was abusing her. So it was me and my little sister having to, beat him off of her. So I think when that happened, I think it clicked in her head like, okay, my kid's watching this now, I gotta go. So she ended up leaving for good. And when I was 18, I got another little sister instead of my car I was expecting for graduation.
And while you at that moment right there at 18, and you got a sister instead of a vehicle, I was going to ask you, through your teens, I know I was the same way. Now that I look back on it, I say I was looking for acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
But really, what I felt was disappointment and rejection. Talk to the audience about what disappointment and rejection you may have experienced during that time.
I personally think that my mom did not have enough love to go around between me and my other 2 sisters because it was fine when it was just me. But now me and my little sister are 6 years apart. So all the focus is on her. So where does that leave me? So I started, acting out and doing crazy stuff even then, but, nothing too serious until I got older. And she did make a difference between me and my middle sister, who was my baby sister back then. But then when I became 18, I was enraged because I just knew coming home from graduation, I was going to have a car with a big red bow in the driveway. No, it was a surprise. You beat the little sister. I was upset. So And she made a difference between all three of us. And I can kind of understand it because when you are a new parent, you don't know what the hell you're doing. We don't come with handbooks. So I got that. But then when I started recognizing that, okay, she getting treated a little better than I'm getting treated, and is it because you don't like me? And I would ask things like that, and she would be
Are
like,
you the
"Oh,
oldest?
I'm the oldest." Yes.
Yeah, oldest always feel like that.
Yeah, and I did. I'm like, dang, what did I do? I didn't ask to be here, and because you could tell the differences that were being made. But I just whatever. Me and my middle sister, we didn't get along at all. My mom used to have to break us up with the broom because we would be fighting.
I mean, you sound you sound like the whole spirit of it all sounds very familiar. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. So now you're 18.
Mhm.
Where you jump off to?
I took my dad's advice, and he told me to take off a year before I go to college. That was the worst advice he could have ever given me. Because
Oh,
when I tell you I laid around and did absolutely nothing for a whole year. Then I guess something finally clicked in my head, and I was like, okay, this ain't it. I know I need to be doing something. I can't just be laying here waiting for the kids to get out of school. So I ended up I ended up moving to Houston. I'm from a little town called Beaumont, Texas. So that's like what a
My uncle
hour.
from Beaumont, Texas.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
So that's where I grew up at. So I was like, I can't wait to get out of here because that's a small town and everybody know your business. I couldn't. And when I left and went to Houston, it's like it was in a whole nother world. Whole nother world. I was like, oh my God. It was like, okay, I could do this here. I could do this. I could be myself. So when in 2003, when I moved to Houston and I saw all of the stuff I'd never seen before, like it was like being on a different planet. So that is when I finally came out and accepted myself as being a lesbian.
Okay.
I was gonna ask you what did being myself mean?
Yeah, that because and then it made me
Being
realize
who?
that
What
being
the
a
what?
lesbian, I
No,
came
what did Reggie say? What you say, Miss Reggie?
I
What?
was gonna ask her, did she know during her teen years, and did her mother ever recognize it? Was that a conversation between her and her mother?
Oh, okay.
yeah, no. I kind of knew something was not right because I hated every guy that I was with, and I ran through a lot of them. And I'm just
Okay.
thinking, okay, maybe he not the one. Maybe he not the one. No, none of them was the one. But when I got a taste of what I've been itching for, I was like, oh my God, yes, this is it. This is it. So yeah, and I ain't look back. And
Well,
no,
let me ask you.
yes.
When you doing your journaling and healing other people, women that done went through stuff, and you being a lesbian, do that affect anything with anybody, or do you find some people reject you because of that?
No,
Respectfully,
everybody loves me.
right?
And
That's good.
if they don't love me, then don't give me your money because you ain't getting it back. Because I make it clear about who I
Right,
am. I don't hide who I am. So
right.
if you know, you know.
And you're
And
not
I'm an
supposed
open
to.
book. I
Right,
don't care. I'll shout it from the mountaintops because you're not here because of who I'm with. You
So,
here for
right.
me
so
to
tell
help
me,
you. Hmm.
Shanti,
Yes, ma'am.
what was that conversation like between you and your mother and you and your siblings?
Child. I told my best friend. Of course, that's the first person I'm gonna go tell. So I told her. She inadvertently told her brother, who went and told the world, and the world meaning Beaumont. In some kind of way, it got back to my sister, my middle sister, and my middle sister didn't believe it. So she was literally fighting people who was coming telling her that because she didn't know because I hadn't come out yet. So that forced me to come out, and so I told my daddy first because I just knew he was gonna like die or something. And I told him, he was like, okay, and I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna go tell my mama then. And so I went and told her. I didn't even have to tell her. Like she stopped me in mid sentence and was like, I already know, and I love you anyway. I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay,
So did it surprise you the parents' reaction, or were you go? I mean, or were you going by what you heard other people parents did? You thought your parents was going to react the same.
No, because I never knew anybody else who was out. So no, I didn't have any opinions to go off of. There wasn't no technology back then. It was word of mouth. We were still talking on the telephone. So I just I just made an educated guess based on their personalities, who was gonna say okay and who was gonna die. And I actually thought my daddy was gonna die, but he did not. And my mama, I think she died inside, but she ain't gonna say nothing.
Because you said earlier that every heterosexual relationship you've been in, every guy you've been with, you didn't like. Do you think that's rooted in why you chose to be with a woman? Because you, for whatever reason, didn't connect with whatever men you chose to be with?
Probably. Probably.
And do you think you started too early and that could be why you missed out on the right man?
Absolutely. But then in hindsight, when I thought about it, I looked at the people, the men, the boy, they was boys, they were no men. The boys that I used to, mess with, they was always fat with titties. That told me something right there. That should have told me something. But it didn't click back then. But yeah.
That is hilarious.
It is the truth.
And now we're in your 20s. Are we journaling at this point in our early to mid 20s at this point?
Absolutely not.
What we doing? You were in Houston. Paint the scene for us.
I'm in Houston. I'm working, and I brought my boyfriend at the time, who was my boyfriend. I wanted him to break up with me. So I said, because I was too much of a punk to do it myself. So I told him, I said, I told him, I said, well, I'm moving to Houston. Either you coming or you not. And I was hoping he would have said, I'm not, because I knew he was a mama's boy. So I just knew he wasn't coming. He ended up coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
You couldn't shake him.
No, I could not until I had to. And I don't mean to laugh about it, but I can laugh about it. But I did not end things with him the correct way that I should have.
Yeah, I get that.
You got back in school while you was out in Houston?
Yes, I ended up getting my bachelor's in human resources management, and I ended up getting a master's degree in business.
Okay.
So I got married. That's one thing I always knew. I was going to get an education. I just couldn't do it where I was for whatever reason.
Why is it so important to you to build a safe haven for others?
Because people are mean and people will use your past against you. And even though you did something in 1983, somebody somewhere is going to bring it up in 2024. Like it just happened yesterday. And that's what happened to me. And I don't want nobody else to feel like that. So that's why I always tell people this is a safe space. If you want to share, share. If not, so be it. But as long as you're writing it in your journal, get it out of your head. Because when you compile all the stuff in your head, like I used to do, that's what led me to have my nervous breakdown. Because I was holding stuff in, pretending like it didn't bother me, pretending, like, oh, whatever, it ain't nothing. I'll forget about it. But no, it came back, and it came back in the worst way. And I don't want that to happen to nobody else.
So that's a part of them bringing their baggage out by writing it in their journals.
Absolutely, yes. You have to face all of it.
Where'd you go to school to get your mental health certification?
I went to Light University. It's an online program. And I actually just recently got my master certification in that. So I am qualified.
What type of speaking do you do as a speaker?
I speak on topics that I know about. If I don't know about it, I don't talk about it. So I talk about self-esteem. I talk about teen pregnancy. I talk about self-love. I talk about my story of having a nervous breakdown. I do the PG version, but you're gonna get the other version when we one on one or in this kind of setting. I'll set it off and tell you the real, but I tell my story in a way not to scare anybody because it's not a great feeling. I put humor into what I say, but during that process, it wasn't nothing funny,
Right.
absolutely nothing.
Right.
And now that I am healed from it, I can look back and say, dang, I was doing this. I mean, I was almost going to jail for wanting to, put my hands on somebody. And I let people know how serious it is for you to take care of your mental health. You I used to be okay, yeah, mental health, that's cool and all, but until I went through it, now I'm like, no, it's very important. You better take care of your mental health. Like, this is
Do,
gonna happen.
do you think a person that's dealing with mental health, the only way they can heal from it is through seeking professional help, or can you self heal yourself from mental health?
It depends on the severity. Let me say that. When a person comes to me with questions about their mental health, the first thing I tell them is to go and see your primary care doctor because what you might think is a mental thing might be just a physical thing. So I always say, go get your workup done first. And then from there, you're fine. I'm going to assess you. I cannot diagnose anyone because I'm not a therapist,
Right.
but I know what I know. So if anything comes off to where I feel like they need a therapist, I'll say, okay, I recommend you go see this person. And I refer people out to licensed therapists so they can get diagnosed and then they can choose their source of
Are you
healing.
are you familiar with epigenetics being in the mental health field?
Say that again.
Are you familiar with epigenetics being in the
Epigenetic.
mental health field?
I am not.
Okay. Well, epigenetics deals with, and the reason why I brought it up
Hmm.
is because it plays a part in not changing DNA itself, but it changes the structure of DNA um, through our behavior and character and things of that nature. It says that trauma is passed down through cell DNA.
I believe it.
Doesn't change the DNA itself, but it changes its structure. The cells can be turned on and off, if you will, based on traumatic experiences. And when turned back on, those things are rehashed. No matter how far past generationally they are, they affect us today because they're passed down.
Exactly. Generational trauma. So yeah.
So while we was there, and please, Miss Shanti, let
Hmm.
me know if I'm wrong or not. Early when you were explaining, when you have a client before you, you make sure that they go get their primary first to make
Yes.
sure. So I just want for the audience sake, when she say go get your workup done, go get blood work done, and please tell me if I'm wrong or not. This only establishes if our bodies have some kind of chemical imbalance that makes us act out or get angry quicker or something. You
Exactly.
have to do the physical balance, the mental balance, and the spiritual balance. But you
Exactly.
go to your primary just to make sure through blood work you don't have like type 2 diabetes going on or high blood pressure going on that will make you
Yep.
not think in your normal way of
Exactly.
thinking. So I just wanted to clear that up. Am I right about that, Ms.
You
Shanti?
are absolutely right. And another thing that it could be is hormonal. Could be a hormonal imbalance, especially when, now perimenopause in women is getting earlier and earlier. Because I got diagnosed with that back when I was like 38. I was like, oh my God, I'm too young for that. And I'm still going through it. So yeah, that's why I say go get a physical. Go get should be doing it anyway, getting an annual exam, but for real, go get an annual exam. That is why.
Dealing with women, when you talk to young girls and women, what is a common thread that you think, and maybe this is not the word I want to use, but I'm going to put it out there for context. What is it that we're missing?
It starts at home. Pretty much, it starts at home. Pay attention to your kids. I know we have to be everything to everybody as moms. We have to be the mom. Sometimes we have to be the wife or girlfriend or whatever. And we have to be the employee, and we have to be the chef and a maid and all that. But pay attention to your babies. That's where it starts at. Pay attention to your babies. And if you see something that's off, 9 times out of 10, your kid ain't gonna tell you what's wrong. But that's why you have youth mental health coaches. You have parishioners in your church, if you trust them, of course. You have, don't go to school counselors. They're not like they used to be. But there are youth therapists and youth coaches. So there's all outlets everywhere. Because
Have you come across a lot of young women that are suicidal, considering the numbers today?
Actually, no, thank God. I have not ran across any. None have come to me. No.
Well, that's a good thing because the numbers are crazy today.
They are. They absolutely are. But not to me. Don't
bring that with runaways. Have you run across any runaways?
Yes, I have. And most of the time it's because of their sexuality. They're afraid to come out to their parents.
Have you ever had times that you need to talk to them?
Direct them to places of shelter and things of that nature. How do you deal with situations like that?
Referral. I have a network of referrals, especially for youth. I talk to their counselor. That's when I get the counselor involved and be like, hey, did you know this about, this person or whatever? And if situations are extreme, as much as I don't like CPS,
that's what I was about to ask you. How does that work? Doesn't that get CPS involved?
That's triggering for me. So, because I got it called on me for nothing several times. But anyway, that's my last resort.
Have you ever had to reach out to any of the parents?
No, I have not. Thank goodness. No, I have not. Because, people don't want you to tell them nothing about their kid.
Right.
So, but so far, no. But it's coming. I know it's coming. One day.
So what's the age range, the demographics or the age range in which you counsel or speak with youth, or just teenagers, or is it adults as well? Male and female, or just female?
Anybody who needs me, I am there. I don't care how old they are, what their sexual orientation is, male, female, goose, gander, I don't care. If you need somebody to talk to, come to me. If I cannot help you, I'll refer you out. I don't want anyone to fall through the cracks, especially kids. They're so impressionable. I think the first time that I spoke in front of a 6th grade class, I'm sitting up here looking at these little kids, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm saying it to myself. I'm like, oh my God, I was your age when I started having sex. I look like some babies. So, yeah, no, I talk to them all.
What are some of the signs that they should recognize, that you can tell a young person to recognize in themselves as when dealing with this type of thing, or anxiety, depression? What are some of the signs they can recognize in themselves that you recognize?
Well, when I talk to them, all I have to do is look at them. Look in their eyeball. Their eyeballs tell me. And not to make anybody uncomfortable, I'll generalize what I say, and I'll be like, if you need to talk to me, go to your counselor. It'll be anonymous. And some of the things I say, I remember one phrase I said, and it's like the whole class just paid attention, because these were some rowdy kids. But when I said this phrase, they shut up and start looking at me. I said, I know your mama or somebody at home telling you that you don't have no feelings, and you don't have no nerves. Because I know, when me growing up, as a kid, you ain't got no nerves. Yes, you do. You have feelings. And everybody just stopped, like, whoa. So, I let them know I'm here. And if you ever want to talk to me, I'm not going to call you out. Their face changes. So I said, I'm not going to call you out. But if you want to talk to me, I'm going to leave my card with the counselor. Go get my card. And then I tell the counselor, hey, I just talked, to this class. There was a few in there that look like they want to talk to me. So I'm giving you my card, and leave it at that.
How damaging is it therapeutically, all of the negative imagery they're seeing today via the music, social media, so on and so forth, because it's, I mean, a blind person can see that they're being targeted. So how damaging is that from a therapeutic perspective on the youth today?
Very, because these little kids, they have access to a whole lot of stuff we didn't have access to. I'm 47, so I know I didn't have access to the stuff that they have now, and it's like, oh my goodness. And that's why it's important to monitor what they're watching. Snatch them phones out their hand and start scrolling and looking and seeing what they're doing, because you can learn a lot on YouTube and TikTok, especially stuff that your kids should not be learning from anybody else but the parent or somebody professional who is experienced and knows what they're talking about. You don't want, like me. My mama used to tell me, "Don't do it." Don't do what? Let me go see what she don't want me to do. So yeah, no. It starts at home and with the parents and having open communication. That is so important. Don't ever make your child feel like they can't come to you. Even though you say, "Oh, you can come to me about anything," in the back of that child mind, like, baby, no, I can't. I ain't telling you nothing. You know?
Well, kids do as we do, not always what we say. And
Exactly.
so when they out cutting up, they already learned that from being at home.
Exactly.
And the way we do things, our dances, our dress,
You
our
listen to.
vernacular, our
Yep.
language, all the
Yep.
selfies we take, all the people that we have over.
Yes,
So
Lord.
as we transition to your journaling and the book, the video vignettes, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at my website, SHAWNTIRefuge.com. I am on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at Shanti Refuge Journals. I'm not hard to find. You can find me.
Is that your first book?
That is Quiet as Kept is my first book.
Okay. I wrote
And
a
it,
first book too. I got a first one.
yes, come on, first
Yeah.
author. I wrote this in November of 2023. It was released in November of 23. So it's new. It's fairly new.
Right. About the same, around the same time, as a matter of fact. So, you ready to tell us about your book?
Yes. So, but first, I want to ask Ms. Reggie, what about the title caught you?
Quiet as it's kept.
What that mean?
Secrets.
We keep a whole lot of secrets.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I saw it, I said, "Oh, this is gonna be good," because old bones gonna start rattling. And I was talking about myself, not other people, but
They
I
bones rattling too.
yeah.
Some closets.
Yeah, that was for me to, it was very therapeutic for me to write this book. I never intended on writing this book. This book basically tells my story from my earliest remembrance of childhood up until I had the nervous breakdown and everything in between. It is very raw, it is very detailed, and I talk about the bad stuff I did. I talk about the stuff that was done to me, but once I had the nervous breakdown and learned how to turn all of that around, I talk about how the person can overcome things like this. And so far, I have gotten great reception from it.
So I'm gonna ask you,
Yes, ma'am.
a lot of times, even with senior women my age, I've been there with them when they feel I don't I want you to give a prelude to what a nervous breakdown or in your opinion what you went through, but similar things, and you can tell because there's just so much in your head and you can't just brush this whole feeling off. But I truly believe, and this is just my opinion,
Go ahead.
and I want you to share with your background and experience. A lot of times, and I'm sorry, this was one of the things that was ushered to me by the Holy Spirit when I was going through. I'll say that, and this was kind of coming out of COVID type of thing, And I looked at myself in the mirror one day, and I said, "You don't have enough capacity for what you're doing right now." you got too much going on where your capacity is so tight and so maximized that you feel like you can't get it together. You feel like you're going down instead of being excited about what's to come. So I always contributed to the capacity at any given time that makes me go mad, kind of thing. Do you feel that capacity has anything to do with how we're feeling at any given time? Too much. Like you said, you're the mother, you're the wife, you're the girlfriend, you're this, you're that. You got a full-time job, you got a side business, you got a side hustle, you got a teacher therapy. Talk to us about the capacity of the mental mind.
When you have a nervous breakdown, just imagine a volcano. That's a perfect example. You have this volcano sitting chilling for years, and then one day, out of nowhere, stuff start bubbling up, and after a while, it explodes. That's exactly what a nervous breakdown is. It's you losing control of your emotions. Period. You can't stop crying if you want. You can't stop doing nothing. You either, and it's a cycle. You go from crying to screaming to cussing to being sad and withdrawn, and it's like a cycle. Just like, and it won't stop until it's ready. And who wants to go through their life
When you
feeling
ask
like
them to go to their primary, and then if not come to you, then how does that affect? How do they start journaling from there?
I recommend, based on what the person tells me, I recommend a journal for them. I wrote 26 different journals. So whatever their issue is, I'm pretty sure I got a journal about it. And if I don't, I will go and make one. That's how serious I am about it. Because I am more in tune with holistic healing. Because when you go to the doctor, you heard what I said. The first thing she wants to give me was antidepressants. Not everybody needs that. But that's the first thing the doctor is going to give. And when you're on antidepressants, they start you off on the lowest dose, and you could go up and up and up and then change prescriptions, get stronger and stronger, but you're not getting to the root of why you started acting crazy to begin with. The antidepressants just shut you up. It don't solve your problem.
Do you bring them to a spiritual level? Do you bring them to a spiritual level by bringing them to the Bible as well?
It depends on the person. Mm-hmm. It depends on the person. I like how y'all smiling at me.
Well, I didn't know whether when you said it depends on the person, if you should venture in.
Yeah, I was waiting on her to elaborate.
Is it the person? How would you know if they're Christian, or how do you test the surface of if they need that or not, or they're just totally not into the Bible?
I have become a pretty good reader of people, and I listen to them. So it's all about the type of words they use. So if I get that indication, okay, then let's pray. Yes, we're gonna pray. And I always tell about how I reconnected with God through my healing, because one of the journals I created is called About That Prayer Life. And I tell people how I did not have a prayer life. I believed in God, but since I started writing in that journal and saw how he answered all of my prayers, every prayer that I wrote down in this journal, baby, I'm quick to tell somebody, baby, come get this journal, write your prayers down. You can't pray out loud, you can't talk, write it down. He gonna hear you, he gonna see it, and he gonna answer it. And I still have my journal here to show, that stuff is real. This is all depends on the person. I can always tell.
We have a comment here. I'm sorry, Miss Dorothy. We have a comment here, and then Miss Dorothy, and I don't know if it's nothing. It's not a question, but in case you wanted to address this young lady that's on here, it says, "It took me 33 years to realize what I was missing. Now I'm working on forgiveness and moving on without requiring anything from anyone."
And that is a blessing. That is truly a blessing. Miss Tracy, that is a blessing, because not everybody has that capacity to do that. A lot of people they like being a victim. They like saying, oh, such and such did this to me 35 years ago, and I can't let it go. But every day when we wake up with a choice. You can either choose to be broken or choose to heal. That is your choice. And don't ever let anyone else take that choice away from you. So I appreciate that. It takes a very strong person to, be able to admit, hey, I did some bad stuff. I made some bad choices. I did this and this, but I know better now. So I could be a better person for myself and for my family. And that's what it's about.
Sometimes, what I was about to say, sometimes it's not that we don't want to talk about God or we don't want to pray, but sometimes I'm speaking for my own self, as a matter of fact, as well.
Mm,
We get angry with God because when my son was murdered, my book is about my son being murdered. And,
mm,
and when my son was murdered, and I know God, grew up on God, love God, I did get angry with God,
of
but then we
course.
have to go back. And I said, I think sometimes when people go through stuff at young ages, they wonder why I have to go through this, why this happening to me. And they get angry with God. I believe it's not so much, that they don't care. They just get angry with God, and they need somebody to pull it back out of that. We can't make it without God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a lesson in everything. God doesn't let things happen to us or our loved ones without it being some kind of lesson there. It
Right.
is something there. And
As
it's
a
not to
as
punish
a
you.
min- as a minister,
Hmm.
I I I, I have to let people know that it's all right to be it's okay to be angry with God. People
Hmm.
need to understand that God created all of us.
Right.
Whether you believe in him by faith and accept the finished work of Jesus Christ at the cross or not, God still created you.
Right.
God still put you here for a reason. Our purpose for existence is found in him.
Hmm.
So whenever you have issues with God, keep in mind that he already knows.
Yeah.
You aren't fooling him. He made you.
Yeah.
So in every little thing you are going to do, not have done, but every little thing you are going to do, whether
Yeah.
good, bad, in secret or not, he already knows about all of that too.
Yeah.
So take your garbage to Jesus because he already knows. And the thing about Jesus, a lot of people don't realize is that not only does he know, he's already worked it out.
Man,
Amen.
right there. Yes. Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
He's already worked it out. So when the brother or the sister says that they aren't expecting anything from anyone anymore, that's because they've truly found divine peace in God. And they
Amen.
are living life without expectation from
Yes.
anyone but him. Because
Exactly.
he or she understands that that's where their provision comes from.
Yep. Amen. Yes.
Yes,
And that's
Lord.
what it is at the end of the day.
Yes.
Quiet as it's kept. Fill in the blank on chapter 1 through what quiet is what kept. Is what being kept, Miss Shanti? What quiet is it kept?
So, um, the reason why I named the book "Quiet as Kept" is because when somebody tried to shame me for my past, and this was the phrase they used, "Quiet as kept." I had never heard that phrase before until this person said it, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's something like saying, okay, you ain't heard this from me, like the lady on in Living Color." Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm supposed to be shamed because I was a teen mom. I did this, I did that. And that's why I named the book Quiet as Kept. So it is basically, me telling I'm spilling all my tea in this book as to I am. So I could show people that your past is your past. You can either live in the past or heal from it and move on. And I
Oh
chose
no,
Right.
to
I'm working with
Right. It
you
don't define
because
you today.
I'm laughing with you because I tell people all the time that the truth is very offensive to people today.
Oh yeah,
People
truth
don't
hurts.
like the truth anymore.
It hurts.
Truth serum today is very offensive to people.
It is. It's offensive to people who live in a lie. Simple
I
as
agree.
that. You living a lie. That's why it hurt. But I was never all the stuff I went through and did to people. I was never ashamed of it. Never. And I wasn't gonna let this one insignificant person who thought they knew what they was talking about, and no, they did not. I think that's another reason why it didn't phase me. Because okay, you repeating secondhand information, but you getting it wrong. Bye. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. Let me make some money off my tea, and that's what I'm doing, along with helping people to overcome theirs. We all got secrets. We all have a past. We've all done something. We are all human. We've all
Well,
made something.
messiness sells.
It
And,
does.
it's a sad reality, but that is the day and time we live in now.
Yeah, yeah,
Drama sells.
So let
it
me
does.
ask you this:
And without sin, let him cast the first stone.
Exactly.
the person who was bringing that
Well, everybody better hold a rock then.
For
Right.
real, for real.
the person that
Everybody better hold mule. Hold.
the person that thought they was bringing that bone back to you, what do you think they were trying to accomplish?
That's a good question that I don't have the answer to. I don't know what they thought. I don't know. I really don't.
So
But
when they
whatever it was, it didn't succeed. It just made me, it made me puff out my chest even more. So
where can the audience find your book and tell us what you want? I'll be prepared to read an excerpt. Take us out with an excerpt of your book. Okay, so
absolutely.
find your favorite excerpt at the end. But where can they find your book and order it for themselves? And then, did you want to talk more about journaling before we let you read your excerpt?
Sure. You can find my book at shantirefuge.com. It's on Amazon as well and Barnes and Noble. So pretty much anywhere books are sold. If you look up Quiet as Kept, Shanti, you're gonna see this little girl, which is me. That's me when I was a baby.
Hmm. That's cute. I like that.
Thank you. So you're gonna find it anywhere. And journaling, you can find my journals at shantirefuge.com. You just go to one website, shantirefuge.com, and look at everything that I offer. I offer self-help guided journals. If you aren't sure which journal you want to use, contact me. I'm always available to help you. I don't ever want nobody to pick something and it not be what they expected.
So what do you mean when you say the different ones? Different. Tell us about the differences in the journals. I mean, at least a couple of them.
Sure. I have a guided journal for unpacking emotional baggage. I have a journal about self-awareness.
But
I
what's
have
in that journal that's not in the self-awareness journal?
the self-awareness journal is prompts specifically about being self-aware. Nothing
So
else is in there.
it's the questions or
It's the question.
statements that you're using in the journals to draw
Exactly.
out what we need to write.
Based
That's
on
what's
what they, yeah.
guiding us.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
And
prompting us or you're guiding us to write in the specific.
yes.
So
Okay.
it's more like a journal slash how to guide.
No.
No.
Strictly a guided journal. Nope. I can't tell you
It's
how
a
to
Okay.
do it.
journal that relates to
I'm
whatever
just
you're
asking
going
for
through.
clarity.
So
I'm
okay,
just
give us
asking
an
for
example.
clarity.
Give us an example out of one of the, how do you prompt me or guide me in one of your journals to focus my writing on something specific? You have one of your most popular ones or most popular questions that people love and that brought a lot out of them?
So I have a journal called I'm Tired AF. And you know what the AF means? And it's for people who
No, tell us. No, I'm just kidding.
I will not. Use your
Thank
imagination.
you. Thank you.
And this journal is for people who are stressed out, overwhelmed, and unappreciated. that's what they feel. And this is my number one seller for moms. Moms grab this book, especially by the
I thought
title.
that sound like me.
Say the
Yep,
title again. Say the title again.
I'm tired AF.
Okay. And so you have read one of your prompts in there that would help me focus on what I'm trying to, the content I'm trying to write.
So all of my journals also have affirmations. So this affirmation says, I release the need for perfection. And so after you're saying this affirmation, then the question comes, what am I annoyed by? What can I do to prevent it? And all your answers gonna come to you. What am I grateful for right now? What am I hopeful for right now? What did I say? What could I have said differently? What I should have said.
It makes a difference. And let me tell you, I'm a big person in presentation. I believe that the way you deliver a thing.
Drop the link.
Yeah, they want to drop you a link to your book.
I was about to say that. Congratulations.
Inside there, but the presentation, the way you deliver a thing makes a big difference. And let me just share, to me, that's just my opinion. That's a good transition for me being an angry teen to me focusing on my speaking and the way I deliver.
Yes.
Whether it's a good message or a not so good message.
Yeah.
It is all in the delivery and the presentation of things. And so people sometimes can eat your food in bite-sized pieces if you put it on the plate the way present it in a way that they want to eat it. I'm gonna say that.
Exactly.
Son, she also on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. You could put up there.
Yeah, I am. When you go to Amazon, you just type in my name and all my stuff will come up. And Barnes and Nobles too.
Did I ask you why?
I ain't ready to Barnes and Noble yet.
That's my last name.
That's so. You know what I was thinking. You know I went over the top, don't you? So is journaling the refuge for women? You know, I was all
yes.
That's your actual last name.
That is my actual last name. But yes, it's a refuge for women. This is where you go to release stuff you didn't even know was upstairs in your head. Yes.
Oh, this is your God-given last name.
It's my married last name.
Okay.
But I was just wondering, have you been a
refuge all your life? Have you been a refuge for others?
Yes. I was a refuge before I was a refuge. Yes. But my wife is actually from New Orleans, and that is her last name. And I took her last name when we got married in 2015.
Praise God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before we allow, I ain't gonna say allow, please forgive me.
No,
before she reads her excerpt from the book, if Miss Dorothy wanted to ask you the last question, OG, Peanut in general, if they wanted to ask you anything, because you're going to take us out with that, your excerpt, your reading.
Yeah, I have one last thing. Since we don't ever know who's really watching, can you explain for the youth today how crucial it is not to develop it can't ever be me attitude? Because a lot of youngsters today think they invincible at shit.
Yes,
like it can't happen to them.
Yep. I'm just gonna say this. When we were in 8th grade, that's when they first started letting us attend those sex education classes. So we got to watch the video of different scenarios. One was the girl telling the baby's dad, that she was pregnant, and he's saying it ain't his. And then another one was running after the daddy for child support. And I'm sitting in there, this ain't gonna happen to me. They crazy. This ain't gonna happen. Why was I sitting in that class pregnant, for one? I didn't know it at the time. But all of that stuff happened to me. All of it.
Right.
So no, it can happen to you. It don't matter who you are, where you come from, I don't care how fine you think you are. It can happen to you. It can happen. So be smart. Be smart. Abstain until marriage. I wish somebody would have told me that. But realistically, if you feel like you can't, be careful. Because your baby daddy cute and all, but he gonna turn into a whole different person when the baby comes in. You ain't gonna recognize him. And the first thing somebody gonna say, well, you picked him, you laid down with him. Yeah, because he didn't act like that because he wasn't no daddy.
And how important it is for them not to try to be like you, but to be better than you.
Yes. You should always want to be better because there's always going to be somebody better. So don't think you are just the cream of the crop and ain't nobody. Yeah, you are an individual. Yes, but there's always somebody smarter, prettier, finer, whatever the criteria is these days. I don't know, but there's always somebody. So you always have to be smart, be smart.
Not me.
Be
Not
smart.
me. I'm the bestest.
For those in the audience who may have not completed their education, how important was where you came from to, you said you got your master's degree at this point, bridging that gap? How important is it for them to get their education?
If I can finish high school with a 3-year-old, you ain't got no excuse at all. Get your education. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't the only one pregnant in the 8th, 9th grade. Ask me how many of us graduated. So you don't
determined.
Yeah. Oh, I had something to prove, honey, because I was told that I was going to have staff steppers. I wasn't going to finish school, and I was going to do this. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you.
All right. After 2,000 words.
Yes.
So then, for the audience, how when they make a mistake, they can recover, or what do you want to say to them about making a mistake and recovering from that mistake? Or if it's a mistake.
Stuff happens. I'm just going to say that. You're going to make some bad choices, and you're going to look back and be like, what was I thinking? Don't let that keep you stuck. Don't stay stuck. You are not your mistake. You are not what happened to you. You can always overcome anything. You just have to have a want. Nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to come knock on your door and say, hey, you look like you need saving. Nope. You have to have it within you because it's already there anyway. Everything you're looking for is already in here. You just got to go get it. But nobody going to come get it at all.
Can a 40-plus-year-old you now see the vast difference and importance it is, and explain to the people how important it is to have a positive male role model in your life growing up versus not having one in the home?
Yes. My dad has always been in my life, always, but he was living in Maryland while I'm in Texas. What good can that do, But, I won't say stay for the kids. Kids ain't crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They see it, they feel it, they smell it, they just don't say it. But
because we can't.
Quiet as it's kept.
Most Back in the days, they used to stay for the kids. They don't stay for the kids no more.
I see, but just for some of those who think that, oh, we're gonna pretend until the kids graduate, baby, you're not fooling nobody but yourself. If y'all are together and y'all are in love and y'all raising your family, do that. But if it ain't working out, let your children see a healthy co-parenting relationship.
Right.
There is a such
Absolutely.
thing. There is a such thing. You don't have to be with the person to help raise your child. You don't have to be with them.
Amen. I can vouch for that.
If it's toxic and detrimental,
get away. Get out.
Yeah.
Ain't no amount of love is worth your life.
Your well-being. I agree.
Exactly. No, you don't let nobody. And women, they got women who beat on their man too. So I'm talking about both. You are worth more than that. You were not put on this earth to be somebody's punching bag. So they can
even if it's verbally abusive. Even if it's verbally abusive.
Yes, even still verbal punching bag.
That's worse.
That's worse.
Yeah,
that's worse.
As far as you can see. And that sticks with a person. You tell a person that they ain't nothing and they this and they that so long, they're gonna start believing it.
Right.
But it's up to us as individuals to know our worth. And I guarantee you, if I would have known my worth back then, we probably wouldn't be talking now. We'd be talking about something else.
Right.
But, I'm glad I went through what I went through because I came out on the other side a better person. I had to reinvent myself, relearn myself, and know how to say no to these things. But it's never too late. I don't care if you 25 or 52 or 79. Always change, always, as if you want to. So it ain't
It's
such
nothing
thing
like
as
that self-love.
yeah. Love yourself. Get in the mirror and say some affirmations to yourself. I love you. I thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Just keep saying it over and over until you believe it, and then act like it. And then you teach people how to treat you because we all deserve respect, no matter who we are. You deserve respect. It starts with yourself, though.
I would like to venture to say, when you're taking a selfie, say an affirmation.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know how many affirmations they're gonna be saying a day?
Right? I mean, it's one thing for somebody to tell you, "Oh, you beautiful, oh, you smart." They can say that all day long, but if you don't believe it for yourself, it don't matter.
It's null and void.
Yeah,
And
you
what
got to
keeps
say it
us
for
from
yourself.
believing it? What keeps us from believing it?
Society, social media saying we got to be this big with boobs this big and a butt that big, and social media has us thinking we're supposed to be doing certain things at a certain age, having certain things. It's not a race at all. When it's your turn, it's your turn. And always love yourself. I'm not against, somebody changing their appearance. Hell, I change my wig every week. But I know who I am, you know. I know who I am. And I look good in all of them. But, I don't need anybody to tell me that, and that didn't used to be me. I used to look in the mirror and speak negatively about myself. Now, baby, I pass my, oh, girl, you fine. Because I am. It starts right here. It starts inside.
I know I do. I look at myself 62 years old. Girl, you fine.
Yes,
Like,
you are. You
yeah,
better know it.
yeah, yeah.
Miss Sunshine,
Yes, ma'am.
let everybody know. Did anybody else have any questions before she lets everybody know how they can get her book, where they can reach her, and then she reads her excerpt?
I
Quiet
don't
as
know.
it's kept. Quiet as it's kept is the name of the book, everybody. Quiet as it's
Thank you.
kept.
Sandy.
Now, I just knew we was gonna get deeper. You're gonna have to come back because I know quiet as it's kept would really get down. We're gonna have to have that really get down, 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 quiet as it's kept.
I can do that. I'm going to burn a hole in y'all ears, though. But yes, I could do that.
Well, because I don't know, sometimes to be in front of people and you talk about being touched inappropriately, because then is no one there with that person to cover them after that conversation. You understand what I'm saying? To
Yes,
wrap them
ma'am.
up. For every cut, you put a salve and band-aid. You have to be, if you open them up, you have to be ready to stitch them back up, for while they're healing. So
Yes,
I didn't know
indeed.
how far we was gonna get into that. But another time, you have to come back one.
Whenever you want me, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. Let them know where they can. Oh, we did that. Find you. Anybody
Yeah, we
else?
did. He Candy.
CopyRefuge.com.
Okay, I'm gonna get on mute. Hey, take your time. Read the excerpt of your book. I can't wait. The audience can't wait to hear it. We're gonna be on mute as you make your graceful exit, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure
Thank
to meet you.
you.
God
Thank
bless
you.
She be
you. Oh,
back
yes,
for
you
Women's
did.
Week. She be back for Women's Week.
Okay, okay.
I will be back.
We thank you.
Oh,
We appreciate you.
okay. So I'm going to read the first page, chapter 4. The title is called Ups and Downs. My postpartum depression was really, really bad after I had my second child. In those days, nobody knew what postpartum depression was. I stayed at home for about 3 months after I had the baby. Not only was I taking care of my baby, but I was also taking care of my best friend at the time. This person was a friend I met in Houston. My patience had run out. It was tiring for me. In addition to being a wife, I was tired of being a mother. I just wanted to run away. In hindsight, I definitely wasn't ready for the life I created. Better yet, I did not want this life that I created for myself. Before my baby was born, we lived in a one-bedroom apartment which was privately owned. Those apartments were similar to condominiums. We were also having issues with our neighbor downstairs. As a result, we decided to move somewhere else. So I said, okay, we can't live in a one bedroom, we need two. Furthermore, I wanted my older daughter to live with us again. She wanted to stay with my aunt when we moved to Houston, and that was a stupid mistake. So that is the first page of chapter 4. I ain't gonna keep reading. You're gonna have to read the book. Go to SHAWNTIREFUGE.com, buy the book. I also have it on digital download. So if you're not a book in hand reader, then you can read it from your phone, your tablet, your computer. It's a good read. It is.
Your digital download, that's in your verse?
That's my first one. Yes.
Yeah. I'm saying when we listen to it in the digital, that's your voice speaking?
Oh, I haven't done the audio yet. It's coming
Oh,
up.
okay, okay.
But
All
when
right.
the audio comes out, it's gonna be all of this.
That's what I was thinking about doing too.
Yeah, do it, and do it in your own voice. Don't let somebody else read your story. You read
Right.
your own story. That way,
Right.
the audience can really identify and
Get a
connect
feel.
with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yep,
was thinking
that's
about
coming. I can't wait.
that.
Thank y'all so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for embracing us
You're
with your
welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for coming on.
You on mute,
You're on mute, Reggie.
Miss Reggie.
You're
You
on mute.
and I want to hear all of this because I saw that. What you said?
Thank you for being with us on the 24/7 grind on another dope segment of Hours with the Elders, where we bridge the gap of information, experience, and wisdom, dropping gems and jewels for those who are committed to making a difference in their communities. Thank you for being with us in the 24/7 grind on another dope segment, Hours with the Elders, where we bridge the gap of information, experience, and wisdom, dropping gems and jewels for those who are committed to making a difference in their communities.